Hey everyone, I'm a software engineer. I've been working professionally in the industry for the last 8 years, mostly doing full stack development, so working on websites, backends, infrastructure, largely in AWS. And I found myself over my career leaning more towards front end development, so building UIs, building product features, things that people can use, with their mouse and keyboard. And I've been a lifelong gamer, been interested in game development as of late, and so I've been streaming my game development game development learning journey, and so I've built myself a little game feature playground that allows me to test different features that I might want to use in a game in the future. And so as I do in every stream, I start out by showing kind of what I'm working on and what I've built so far. So we've got a very simple main menu, the ability to continue, start a new game, load a game. You can see if we try to load a game, there are save files. You can delete save files as well. If we were to start a new game, we get placed into a top-down view of a player. The direction that the player is facing is controlled by the mouse. The triangle polygon that you see here is a debug value, as are the circles that you see moving around. You can't see them now, but the circles you see moving around there. The circles are zombies, and the triangle polygon is a debug value for the flashlight. So the only time you can see a zombie on the screen is when you have the flashlight on and you are shining your flashlight on that zombie. Now you can shoot a zombie and hover over them, open up kind of a dual inventory menu, which is what I've been working on recently. There's a player inventory menu, which I've, in the last stream, was hooking up, trying to build out some like a, weapon and ammo kind of system, and was getting pretty close at the end of the last stream. And so I'm going to finish that up today. I'm probably also going to move some of the weapon inventory stuff to its own kind of menu, like inventory type thing, because I don't really like it being placed in the regular inventory here. So I might have a button that pops out on the side here, something that switches between this inventory and a different one. And it seems like my music has stopped, so let's get that going again. And yeah, I've built a save system, so you can kind of save a certain state of the game that still needs to be expanded. I have a debug value here that zooms out, and you can see I've built a chunking system. So it loads the current 3x3 chunks that are around the player. As you move around, some of them get loaded, the other side gets unloaded, and the zombie information gets saved and stored. And so when you come back to the chunks that you were at previously, those zombies get loaded back in the position that they were in and the state that they were in. Yeah, that's pretty much everything I've built so far. I've done some recently, a lot of UI work. It doesn't look particularly interesting or designy, but it gets the job done and does what I'm looking to do. So I have a couple bugs in the kind of weapon ammo stuff that I've been working on. Excuse me. So I'm going to go ahead and start by fixing that. So I will just get this working as intended. So I guess to show you what the bug is, shooting works totally fine. When there's no ammo, the count is associated with ammo in your current magazine. When there's no ammo in the magazine, you can reload, or really at any time, but for some reason when I reload right now, it's adding just tons and tons and tons of ammo to my available for me to use, so I need to go ahead and fix that. The way I've implemented this so far is that the weapon that you use is the first weapon that's selected in the first weapon that's in the inventory. Hey Darshan Tips, how's it going? Thanks for hopping on again. Good to see you. Hey Jira. Any tips on making a chunk system and saving the data that is related to each chunk? Yeah, so I've built myself a chunk system. I call it Chunk Manager, and it basically loads and unloads a 3x3 grid around the player. So you can load in information there. You're about to implement that? Yeah, so I mean, really, it's just a matter of creating a 3x3 matrix and then storing whatever information you want about that in save files. What I've done is I've associated each chunk with a different save file, which I believe is the approach that Minecraft takes. So I kind of am using the same idea that they use there. And you basically just want to store the locations of each of the items that you're storing, and then, you know, whatever config metadata values you have for each of those items, so that when you can load things back in, they get loaded properly. I think that's probably the easier part. I would say the harder part with chunking is usually when you have some kind of chunk system, you typically, there's a dynamic programmatic RNG aspect of things. So I'd say that's the harder part, is just figuring out how to to make things like feel random, but also not like chaotic, if that makes any sense. And I haven't spent too much time other than, you know, the time I've spent on the chunk system building out like trees and foliage and buildings and whatnot for the chunk system. Right now, it's really just zombies. So it's a relatively straightforward algorithm. It basically, I think there might be a max limit to the number of zombies that can be in a chunk, or I've just set it to some like high randomness value. Yeah, no problem. Yeah, there should be information online about it as well, but I'd say start small. You don't need, you know, the chunks can be relatively large, especially in like the case like this, because you can only view a certain amount of area, so you're never going to see chunks loading in, especially for a top-down view. But if you zoom out, you know, you can see it all kind of work together and everything. Yeah, so as I was explaining about the weapon system right now, is it basically takes the first weapon that it sees in your inventory, and then the first ammo that's compatible in your inventory, and then it uses that when you shoot. It's not a particularly elegant solution, and I was just trying to code up something quickly yesterday. But I think I'm going to move that approach, take a different approach, and say that for the player specifically, there can be another inventory menu that you get to by like either pressing a button over here or something, that allows you to select an active weapon, and then select the ammo that goes with that. And then so that way the generic inventory that I've built myself here, which I'm using for player characters, NPCs, really anything that needs an inventory, doesn't need to have specific like player information, because as of right now, there's no NPCs that are, you know, using weapons or anything. It's just like zombies. So I'm just gonna get the reload issue fixed, and then I'll go about creating a new like player weapon inventory. I need to build UI around that, and then hook it all up to the player. Make sure that works. So that'll be probably the main focus of the stream today. I imagine that's going to take a bit of time to do. So let's figure out what's going on with the reload. So every time I'm hitting reload, which is happening in the player, we are reloading the weapon, which is working properly. I believe ammo added is also working properly. We're getting the correct amount that should be removed from the ammo and magazine. Oh, hold on, actually. I'm realizing I want to check if the inventory, excuse me, values are working properly for reloading. So we have 100 rifle ammo here. We reload. Okay, so that is updating as well. So there's something, it's not an issue with UI. It's actually an issue with the underlying data structure, or the way I'm updating it. So I assume it's happening in this self.inventory.reload function. So in here we're finding compatible ammo, and then we are keeping track of that. And so if that isn't null, amount in inventory reload, So that should be the same as ammo added. It is. So stackable ammo item dot amount minus equals amount. And there's no amount global variable here. No, it doesn't look like it. So I know I have a setter for this now. So we're saying assert amount plus that is greater than 0 makes sense. So amount is plus equals A. Maybe that's the issue. So we're minus equals amount and then plus equals in the set. So there's definitely something weird happening here. I imagine it's something to do with the setter function, because it does seem like we're like adding okay, let's print out what stackable inventory item set string of A. So let's see what this is, because this might be like a crazy high number. Also, for those of you watching, are the audio levels good? Do they seem fine for everyone? Just want to make sure. It seems like some of the recordings on YouTube or the audio is a little loud in general, so just want to make sure I adjusted things properly. Okay, so what was I looking at? Right, I was going to see what the debug value was here. Okay, so stackable, yeah. It's 95. So it looks like it takes... Oh, maybe I'm just supposed to say amount equals A, not amount plus equals A. And I think that might do the trick, because I'm already doing the minus equals. Yeah, there we go. Okay, I got it. So that looks correct. Now we have a lot of ammo. So let me actually restart. I'm just hard coding this for now in the player, but let's give like 10 rifle ammo just so we can test the empty state here. Okay, so we do have an issue. Amount must be greater than 0, otherwise we should remove the stackable inventory item from the inventory. Okay, so that's expected. So we had an assertion failure there. So in inventory, we want to say when we're updating the amount of an item, which is done. I actually don't know that I have anything controlling that yet. But I'm also realizing I don't know. I think reload might be the only place that I'm actually taking advantage of changing the stackable ammo item amount. So this is also where we get some unintended consequences of having like player specific code in our generic inventory. Hey Distant, thanks for hopping on again. How you doing? So for the moment, we'll just say if stackable ammo.item.get amount. Actually, I think we can just do amount now, and we can get rid of these get amount functions because we have a getter for this. But I'm not going to do that right now. So if the amount is less than or equal to 0, we actually want to remove this item. So we want to keep track of the index as well. Which is just going to be the key in this case, which is a string, I believe. So we'll say index equals key. I'm good, Distant. I'm doing well. I'm just finishing up fixing the bugs that I had with the new weapon system that I'm building in the game. And I'm realizing that I need to I want to move the kind of player weapon inventory stuff to its own UI, and keep it out of the normal inventory, because I have this generic inventory class that I want any NPC, any player character to be able to use. And if I'm adding player specific code, NPCs have access to things that they don't need and shouldn't use. And if they do use, will probably have unintended consequences. So I'm just fixing the reload bug that I had before. And then I'm going to go and build a new system for that with new UI. Okay, so if the stackable item amount is 0 or less than 0, we want to remove that index. So we can say self.add item to slot, and I'll say null for the index. And I think that should fix this bug that we just saw. Yes, it does. Cool. All right, so now that we've done that, let's just commit it. Added basic player weapon system to inventory. So now we're going to go ahead and move all of this to a separate location. So let's create in UI for now. So we have player inventory. Let's create player weapon inventory. And here we're going to have a script with the same name. So player weapon inventory. Yeah. So that'll extend node, or do we want it to extend inventory? I don't think we need it to extend inventory. So it extends node. So we're going to have, let's see, what are we going to need this to do? We're going to need the equipped weapon. So that's going to be the same as these, equipped weapon and equipped ammo, except the difference is we're not going to be looking for anything in our inventory. It's going to be set here. So we'll say for the getter, we just return equipped weapon. And when we're setting, we'll just say equipped weapon equals W, and then kind of the same idea for equipped ammo. Equipped ammo and set equipped ammo equals A. Okay, so we have that. Now we'll need a way to add a weapon. remove a weapon, add ammo, remove ammo. We'll probably want a function to shoot the equipped weapon. Although theoretically that'll be on the weapon itself, but we can just say TBD for the moment. And then we probably also want a reload that can handle updating the count for the equipped ammo. I think it's fine for equipped ammo to be a stackable inventory item, so we get that count tracked, and it's kind of the same concept that we're using within inventory. Actually, we don't need the add, remove. We don't need any of those because that's what our getters and setters do here. So just want to say shoot, which will, I think, be basically as simple as self.equippedWeapon.shoot. And you're yelling because, too few arguments. So this takes mouse position, a player global position, and some other vector space, physics space stuff. And I think it returns a dictionary in all cases with two values, intersection and success. So we will just return this. It's actually a dictionary. That should work. And now for reloading, it's going to be very similar, except instead of finding it in self.itemSetKeys, we will have direct access. So we can say if equipped ammo does not equal null, equipped ammo dot amount minus equals amount, and if equipped ammo dot amount is less than or equal to 0, we will set equipped ammo equal to null. Let's do self here everywhere because that's what we've been doing. Okay, great. So we have this all set up. So now in inventory, we can actually remove all of this. And we'll get some yelling for a little bit, especially on the player here, or we should at least. Self.get inventory weapon. Okay, so this is no longer valid. So we can actually, for the moment, say weapon inventory. We need to give this a class name. Player weapon inventory is of type player weapon inventory equals player weapon inventory dot new. we can say that weapon inventory dot, let's actually do this in the ready function. So self dot weapon inventory dot equipped weapon equals, I think we just called it rifle, which should be valid because that inherits or extends weapon. And then same thing can happen for equipped ammo equals, in this case, stackable item 5. And this is all debug, so we'll get rid of this later. And now in get inventory weapon, we can, instead of saying self.inventory, we'll say self.weapon inventory dot equipped weapon. And that should be valid now. And so what we should see here is the same thing happening as we did before, except the equipped weapon isn't going to show up in our UI the same way that it was previously. And then we'll go about building out the UI for this, but at least we'll have kind of the same functionality that we did previously. Nope, we got an error. Valid get index equipped ammo. Oh, get weapon. Wait, get weapon ammo amount is self dot weapon inventory dot equipped ammo. Okay, let's give this another go. All right, an issue in reloading non-existent function reload in base node of inventory. Okay, so again, we are running into the same kind of issue here. Weapon.reload, okay, so it's not self.inventory reload, it's self.player, or sorry, weapon inventory. So this should resolve the problems. So reloading works. Cool. So that's working as expected. Obviously I guess that object is still showing up in that because we're putting it in our inventory here. That's interesting. Surprised it's not asserting with an error that it's 0, but that's okay. And if we wanted to get more ammo, actually, we should be able to merge. No. Non-existent function add amount and base node stackable inventory item. Okay, so add item. Let's go into inventory. Add item. Okay, so is same item. Base node stackable inventory item. Oh, I think I got rid of add amount for a stackable inventory item, and I'm just using the setter for amount. Yes. So I think I just say inventory, just say amount plus equals, and then get item dot get amount. Let's give this another whirl. So look at our ammo down to 0. Should be able to move this over. Now we have okay, so it doesn't seem to be connected, which is fine because we're gonna move this anyway, but at least we fixed one other bug. Okay, so now that we have the backbone of the player weapon inventory working, let's focus on the UI of it. So I'll have a new scene. called player weapon inventory. And we will need a script for it. Actually, let's call this player weapon inventory UI. And I guess it's actually not at all related to the player, so I'm going to change some naming here. So I'm going to rename this part to UI and player weapon inventory. I'm actually going to create a new folder outside of UI that's specifically around a weapon inventory. And so we will move player weapon inventory there. Oops. I think that just got moved all the way somewhere else. Where is it? Okay, let's just undo that. Wait, hold on. That's not what I want. Hold on. What just happened? Why can't I make you bigger? I just lost this file. It disappeared off somewhere else. Let's filter. Okay, there it is. We'll put that in the right spot. Don't think we need this one anymore because we have this one. Let's delete you. Don't save. Let's open you up. Player weapon inventory. Okay, great. So let's rename you to weapon inventory and also update you to weapon inventory, because theoretically we could use this on more than just the player. So we'll update this to not be related to the player specifically, but just say character global position. So whichever character is implementing this or using it, that's whose global position we want there. But you're still called player weapon inventory. Why? Oh, is that because we only updated you? I think so. Okay, so I'll actually remove you, open you up, okay, weapon inventory, make the same change we just made again. Character global position, character global position. Great, and then we need to go into the player, and where it says player weapon inventory, we just change this to weapon inventory. Great. So that's all good. Now we'll come back to the player weapon inventory UI. And from here, we want to follow a similar pattern to what we've been doing for the rest of the UI. So this is actually not going to be a scene. This is going to be a control node. And let's rename you to player weapon inventory UI. As a child of this, I believe we use a panel container. Call this outer container. And for now, we'll add a custom minimum size of, it doesn't need to be super tall. So we can say, 200 and say, oh, so that's width. I don't know. Let's just say 600 for now and a height of 200. Layout will be anchors and we'll center it. And the parent here needs to have center. Great. So that's centered in the middle here. Hey, Mohammed. I am learning game development. and I'm doing so in a Godot, using the Godot engine. And I've built myself a little playground to test out some of the features that I might want to build or use in a future game. So I've got a relatively straightforward main menu where you can continue, play a new game, load a game. It drops you into a top-down view. This orange or reddish triangle polygon here is a debug value, as are the blue circles. But basically the premise of what's going on right now is you can only see these blue circles, which are zombies, when the flashlight is turned on. So I turn on the flashlight and I can see them. You can shoot them. They fall down. You can open up inventory. And right now I'm working on a weapon system that'll allow me to add more weapons into the game in the future. But like you can reload and save your game. If I zoom out a little bit just for debug purposes, you can see I've built a chunking system. So as we move left and right, new chunks load in, other chunks load out. And that's pretty much as far as I've gotten. But I've been streaming my game development learning journey over the last few weeks. And as of late, I've just been focusing a lot on UI and control nodes within Godot. And so right now, just building out a new UI system for player weapons that allows you to drag and drop and handle that outside of the normal inventory that I've built. Okay, so we have this outside panel container here. So what I'm thinking is having, like, on the left-hand side. Thanks. Yeah, it's been fun to do so far. And so in general, for professional work, I typically do JavaScript, TypeScript, Node, and use AWS for infrastructure. For game development here, it's a language called GDScript, which was built specifically for Godot. It's pretty similar to Python in terms of syntax, but obviously different, functionality because Go is a game engine and Python's just a generic coding, scripting-ish language. So yeah, those are the main languages that I use day to day. So what I'm thinking is having on the left-hand side the weapon itself, and then on the right-hand side the type of ammo. So really, there's going to be two draggable containers here. So that'll operate pretty similarly to the inventory that we currently have, and it should be able to ideally interact with that inventory. Which means that we'll still be using the concept of a stackable inventory item that we've been using. So this should be straightforward to do. We'll have a basic HBox container because things are going to be oriented horizontally. We want it to fill horizontally and vertically. And then we'll have two. I don't think we need to do this programmatically. I think we can actually hard code it. We'll have two UI elements that are, might need to create new elements for this, but if we wanted to be able to reuse what we're currently doing, we could just use the inventory item button that we've built and just have two of those here. And what this gets us is the ability to specify size on this. So I think if we if we expand both of these, then it'll be 50-50, which is fine for now. It's not a big deal. And then the left one, so we'll say this is, we'll rename this to weapon button. And this is ammo button. So this will get us for free some of the drag and drop, although I'm realizing that this would allow us to drag and drop any item, not just a weapon, any specifically stackable inventory item. So we might want to create a new UI element for this. So let's see. I guess it doesn't need to be a button anymore. It can probably just be a label. So we don't need to support like the clicking aspect of it. We'll need a way to update. So we won't need like button down. So yeah, let's create a new control node. Oh, this is not letting me click. There we go. We'll call this weapon inventory. I guess we'll just say item for now. So this will consist of a panel container, which should expand to be the full rectangle. Within that, we want a maybe just a label. I think a label is fine for now. What is game UI label? Will this work? Yes, I think we can use a game UI label here. Whoops, that's not right. So game UI label, where, why is that so small? It's absolutely minuscule. But I think it's fine because we'll make the font size bigger programmatically. Okay, so let's add a script here. So what do we want this to be able to do? We want some drag and drop functionality. We want to be able to add stackable inventory item. So that can be either adding a null item or a true item. That might be all we need for now. So just to start, we want similar stuff to drag and drop that we have, except and we'll have similar signals here as well. But we will update these signals because they're not exactly the same. Update signals to be for this class. So, right, we need update item, which takes in a stackable inventory item, returns void. I don't think we need a concept of an inventory key here because it's its own separate thing. And I think we were also, when we do update item, we say, I know we just update the action button text. So let's also grab the game UI label scene equals panel container slash game UI label. Okay, so we'll need to update this. So basically what I need to do now is have a drag preview. So when we're dragging, this is what it should look like. So we'll say weapon, and we want it to be of itself. So weapon inventory item scene equals preload of the weapon inventory item. And I'll update this to weapon inventory item. Oops, inventory item scene. This with data function doesn't exist, but we will have an initialize function that takes in the stackable inventory item. We don't care about inventory key. I think this is related to size, but we'll ignore that for now. So it'll just take one thing. And so we'll say self.stackable item equals item. So that all should be valid. We're using the drag and drop manager here. Got signals that we're emitting from. And the next thing we want to change is it's not only that we want to be able to drop any stackable inventory item in. So if data is stackable inventory item and the underlying item is a weapon, so we'll say data.get item data.get item is weapon. So if both of those things are true, then we can drop it there. Or then we can do all this stuff. What is this doing? Or so if self.stackable item equals null, or it's the same. Oh, okay, I see what this. So this line 30 is saying, don't allow us to drag in an item that isn't of the same type. So like, I don't have a way to swap inventory items at the moment. So at some point we'll need to add that. But we don't want to delete data. We don't want to lose items. So we're making sure that this is empty before being able to drag in. So can drop data. So if the data is stackable inventory, and I think it's going to be the same exact check here, actually. Whoops, what did I do? So you can, if it's a stackable inventory item, and it's a weapon, and the space that is being occupied right now is empty or of the same type. If it's of the same type, it's just gonna like add it, or it should technically add it, but we'll worry about that later. All right. I think this is most of the functionality that we want now. So within player weapon inventory, weapon button and ammo button. So weapon button these will both be, wait, what are these? They're just control nodes, but what does this go to? Oh, inventory item buttons. Okay, so I want to remove these. Hey, Viniac. How's it going? So instead I want to add two, let's give this a class name, weapon inventory item. Right now I'm documenting my game development learning process. So I've built myself a little playground for some of the features that I might want to build in a game. And just learning how to, build UI, build different systems, do all of that. So relatively simple main menu. There's the ability to load and delete saves. If we start a new game, you get placed into a top-down view. This red triangle here is a debug value, as are the blue values here. The main premise right now is that you can't technically see anything unless you have your flashlight turned on. And then when you do, you can see zombies that are walking around. They'll follow you. You can shoot them. You can loot their inventory. So recently I've been working on an inventory system. And for both the player and also as you're looting a zombie. So you can drag and drop all these elements here. What actually happens if you... Oh yeah, that doesn't look great. So, obviously some UI wonkiness there. And recently I've been working on a weapon inventory system. So I'm going to be adding another section to the player inventory that allows you to drag like a weapon up and drop it in. And then that's the weapon that you're using, as well as the ammo. Outside of that, I've built, if I zoom out here, a chunking system. So as you move around, new chunks load in and out. And a save system as well. And yeah, right now just working on that player inventory. So getting the UI looking, not looking great, but usable. So we're gonna have two weapon inventory items here. One is for the weapon, and the other is for the ammo. And we want these both to expand horizontally. And then the title will be the item name. And we also need to... This game UI label, let's open up the... Wait a second, why isn't this... Wait, weapon inventory item. Did I connect the script and not the scene, or did I connect the scene? Hold on. No, I connected the script, not the scene. Nice. That's awesome. Glad I could be of help. Was it you who we talked about like the serverless options maybe like a week ago or something? We had talked about like serverless, and then there was some other product as well. But glad to see you come back and feel inspired to go work on something yourself. I don't know why these are showing up as not the right thing, so we will just have to drag these in for now, which is fine. But that's okay. And then ammo. Okay, so now... Oh, that's not right. Okay, so there's something we're missing here, but it's okay. Let's expand these to fill, because the label's very small, so we need to make it bigger. And if we come back into... Let's close these out. They don't need to be open. Okay, so if we come back into weapon inventory item, the label itself is really small. Oh, and within the layout here, I can say container sizing vertically. I want it to fill. But why is it still so small? Now, this is where I don't love Godot's UI system, because it definitely... Oh, there we go. I think that might fix it. Okay, so now it's the whole thing, and the game label is just very small. So vertically, we want it to fill. Great. Now we want it to center. Okay, so text is in the middle, and we'll just have to adjust the font size, but I actually think we can do that in here first, just to see if that works. So that's maybe not going to be big enough, but we'll... Oh no, that should be plenty big. 36 should be good. Okay, so as we need a way to, when we're updating the item or initializing, we need a way to set the... Actually, we should just do self.update item and pass in the item. We also need a way to update the label text. That's what I'm trying to figure out. So game, whoops. Game UI label scene dot text equals so if self.stackable item does not equal null, and self.stackable item get item actually hold on, let's do that, and then we'll say item equals self.stackable item dot get item. And then we can say, what are you yelling about? There's already a parameter called item. Oh, All right. Let's just say I dot get name, is it? Get item name. So we'll set the item name that way. I think that should be okay. All right, now if we go into player inventory, our generic, so our inventory UI here, I actually think, let's try something real quick. So if we go into just the inventory UI, wherever that is. So we have 3 sections, one for player, or I mean one for the whose inventory it is, the inventory itself, and then the action buttons. If we were to add another section, so add a panel container child and put it in between there, and let's call it weapon inventory. Now if we add a child node of weapon inventory, actually we need to just drag it from well, it's called player weapon inventory, but this isn't permanent. That doesn't look great because the, oh wait, it's supposed to be within that. So also looks the same. We need to turn, we need to make this VBox larger. So we have a custom minimum size of 1,000 by 1,000. So I think it needs to be 1,200 by 1,000 now. And then this isn't playing well yet. So maybe we're supposed to shrink. What are you doing? You're shrinking middle. So do you also need to shrink center? So horizontally fill, shrink. Oh, you have no, so the custom minimum height there we go. So that needs to be 200. So we've got test. All right, let's just see how this looks in game. We might even be able to drag and drop stuff here. No, we can't. That's invalid. But we're getting closer. I don't know why the colons are there. Oh, maybe because the an inventory, not the player weapon inventory. Weapon inventory item. Oh, okay. So get item name. Item name. Colon. What is the colon from? I don't know. Not a big deal. So the drag state isn't working. So can drop data if data is stackable inventory item and data.getItem is weapon. So let's see, let's print out, this should technically be valid. Actually, let's print out is weapon and say plus data.getItem is weapon. Do I need to put this in a parentheses here? No, you still don't like that. I guess this needs to be a string. Okay, so let's try this out. Try dragging this in. I'm also realizing that the weapon inventory item can either be a weapon or ammo, and the left side is only a weapon and the right side is only ammo. So we'll have to do some changes there to handle that. But where is this debug? Doesn't look right. Maybe it's not getting to this point. Oh, I think the issue actually is we need to set the, so we want to say for mouse, filter is pass. Same with here, pass. So this is, we want it to stop on the weapon inventory item. Okay, so that does work, except it obviously breaks, but a little closer there. Invalid get index inventory key. You might emit item. Okay, so that's because we copied code and did not get all over. So emit item modified. I don't actually even know if we need any of this. Definitely don't need emit inventory item selected. Oops. Come back to me. There we go. I don't think this is being used anywhere. And this isn't being connected anywhere, so it's not actually going to do anything. So this should solve that issue. Oh, it actually... non-existent function initialize. Okay, that's fine. So that amazingly worked. So we're one step closer. The issue though was that there's no initialize function. I forgot to add that. Oh no, there is. Wait. Weapon inventory item seen. Did I spell something wrong? Initialize. Weapon inventory item seen. Weapon inventory item seen. There is an initialize function though. Another resource is loaded from path. Is that the right path? Player weapon inventory / weapon inventory item. It is. Okay, how am I doing that in inventory item button? UI inventory item button seen. Instantiate. Then I use with data because that's the function, initialize function for that one. So I instantiate and then I initialize. Let's give this another try here. Okay, non-existent function initialize. Base control. We can even see the initialize function here. So maybe this load isn't loading properly. UI. Right, it is UI slash player weapon inventory slash weapon inventory item. And if we open up weapon inventory item, there is an initialize function. Okay, let's just try calling it with data. Maybe control nodes have an issue with that wording initialize for some reason, but we'll see. Oh, I didn't think they did, but there's only one way to find out. Yeah, no, same issue. Non-existent function with data. Base control. Okay. Maybe we don't want to extend control then. What are we doing for inventory item button? No, we're extending control. Weapon inventory item. Inventory item button seen preload. Preload, the same thing. I wonder if I can instead say self.instantiate. Nope. I am surprised this isn't working. Because there is a initialize function here. Maybe, is there a ready function on inventory item button? Maybe that's the issue. No. Oh, because it returns self. Is that why? Oh, and it's adding. No, it's just adding the child. Am I doing? Am I taking that? No, I'm not even doing that. Okay, what if I try returning self here? What's the, oops, return value? Oh, I don't, inventory item button. Okay, so say weapon inventory item. I don't think this should do anything. Yeah, that makes no difference. Non-existent function. What is happening? Initialize. Why is this not a function? Because it's 100%. Okay, let's just call this what it should be. Weapon inventory item. An inventory item. That shouldn't make any difference either. Okay, non-existent function, but it does exist. I promise you it exists. All right. Give me a sec to get more water and caffeine and mull this over. I'll be back in like 2 minutes. And we're back. Did I miss any messages? No, I did not. All right, so I'm not figuring out why initialize isn't working. Maybe it almost seems like something different about this scene. Like, have I done something different here? Oh, it's not a control, actually. It's a panel container. That's probably why. Okay, that's confusing, but let's go ahead and fix that. So we'll move game UI label up here, remove this panel container, come in here. So this is no longer panel container, and then we need to adjust the UI here. Actually, that might be okay. As is. All right. Maybe this works now? No. Non-existent function initialize in base panel container. It also doesn't like it. Yet it doesn't mind it here. Inventory item button. Script. Oh. No, not that. Script weapon inventory item. Not loving this. It's like almost not recognizing the script that's attached to it. Maybe I'd mess something up. So let me detach the script and attach it again. Weapon inventory item. I think that's of the same name. Okay. I wonder if it's actually to do with where it's trying to grab from. Okay, so on let's close. Oh. Wait a second. So we have all of the drag and drop stuff here. But in inventory UI, so for all of the inventory items, where is the mouse? mean, it should be stopping on each of the items, no? Oops. So maybe if I say mouse pass instead of... No, that's set to stop. What's wholesome? Pridom says it's wholesome. Volcano, green, lava, orange. Are you saying my stream's wholesome? It is pretty chill. Just listening to music, doing some game coding. I do think this needs to stop here. What is this? Option force. I don't understand the difference between these two elements here. They have exactly the same mouse stuff. It's doing the initialization the exact same way as the inventory item button. And yet it's unhappy. Okay, if I were to comment that out, what do we see? Okay, so it does, that works. I mean, obviously it looks very weird, but it works. Am I... inventory key. Okay, I've seen some other wonkiness here. Inventory key. You're at entry level, that's why. Like your entry level computer science, like coding wise, software engineering, or entry level game development. Am I using inventory key anywhere else? No, I don't think so. Let's try this again. Okay, so without the initialize, this, wow, that actually, I'm amazed that works. The label doesn't get updated after, but that's okay. I can fix that. It is cool that you can move this around though. Software development. Have you gotten your first job? What kind of software are you doing? Okay, we're getting closer here. We do need to say on drag, so that gets emitted. But we can update the label. Update item, update item, update item. If it's not null, oh yeah, we were supposed to say otherwise set the label to an empty string. Okay, so we should now at least be able to do that, and that works as intended. Why is it defaulting to? I must have some weird default state for this game label UI scene. Let me pull that up real quick. Game UI label. Why do I have two? Because that one doesn't exist. So the default text, has a colon. Why does it have a colon? Label text, value text? What am I mean, I'm using this in a lot of places, but, or am I? Where am I using this? Can I see from there? No, is this the only place I'm using it? I think this might be the only place I'm using it. Oh, no, I'm using it for the, it's the oh, right. It's for the actual UI. Okay, that's fine. I can get around that just by having the default be an empty string like it is. Update item. We'll say ready self.update item with self.stackable item. So that should at least resolve the colon issue there. Cool, so that's working. Almost as intended. You're into full stack? Nice. What languages do you use? For full stack, I've always done JavaScript, TypeScript, Node with AWS on the for infrastructure. Okay, why is this initialize function not working? Because yes, it's a panel container, but I have a function called initialize. Did I spell this wrong? Initialize. Nope, that's spelled correctly. Let's give this another go. Okay, I'm gonna have to look this up. Non-existent function in panel container Godot 4. I am new to Godot, so it's not unreasonable. There's no... I mean, I know it's not built into a panel container, but I have a script that should allow it to be called. Am I instancing it wrong? Instantiate? Instantiate. Is this scene? Like... Oh, let's take a look at what the scene actually looks like here. Weapon inventory. Oops. Weapon inventory item scene. Oh, why do I have two? Oh no, wait. It's fine that I have two scripts attached because it's different resources, but this is... Pranam says, working with a startup looking for MNCS, to be honest. More money. What's MNCS? Okay, so node type panel container, that looks fine. Script, that has a script, so that looks fine. External resource is that script, and then game UI label also has a script. I don't know what load steps and format mean. probably doesn't tell me either. If I do something weird and I change that to 2. What? Oh no, it changes it back to 3 automatically when I rebuild, so that is something separate. Well, I'm wondering if it has to do with the game UI label. I mean, that's the only thing that's like really different here. So when I'm initializing, it's updating the item, and maybe it's because game UI label scene isn't available yet. That could be it. Oh, I'm also not setting. Hold on. Okay, let's. Oops. So inventory item button. So here, am I calling? I'm not calling update. Okay, I might need to initialize game UI label in here. But for the moment, let's just say self.stackable item equals item. Let's see if this works. No. Okay, still the same issue. Still the same issue. This feels like such a silly small thing. Maybe it's to do this self.stack. Maybe. I'm doing that all exactly the same here. Get drag data. Boy, this is very, very annoying. Okay, what if instead of inventory item button that I'm instantiating, what if I instead do inventory, or I mean, instead of weapon inventory item, what if I just try this? So we'll comment you out, go back to inventory item button, come down to the end, just copy these things. Let's see if this works. Inventory key for now can just be 1. Great. If this works, I would be surprised. It does work. Whoa, how did that disappear? Hold up. I'm confused. Oh, what? Oh, if you drop it on on itself, it deletes. That's a bug I hadn't seen yet. Okay, that works. So, I mean, I guess we can use inventory item button scene here. Oh, maybe it's something to do with it being, this being hard coded to 1 actually. That's That's actually probably why it's being funky. Okay, so it's annoying that that works and this isn't working. Inventory item. I can't do that, can I? No. I can do that, but that's not what I'm looking for. This shouldn't make any difference either, because it's still not going to understand that there's a function called initialize base panel container. What is happening? And why is it working here? You're killing me. For how to instantiate within itself. I don't know much about Godot, but would the problem be somewhere in the instantiate line since it doesn't even get the proper type to run initialize on the next line? I mean, that's kind of what it seems like. I'm preload. So let me expand this a little bit. So we can get rid of this line because we're not using it anymore. So I'm basically preloading maybe I can't do this, but I'm basically preloading the same scene here. So it's like importing itself, like its parent scene, which could just be the issue right there. But I'm doing the same exact thing here because this inventory item button is what I use for all of the inventory. And that seems to work fine. So I'm not understanding why it isn't working here. Aside from the fact that maybe there's something like maybe because I'm loading inventory item button through the inventory, this is like valid, but it's not really a valid way to do it. And I'm just like, excuse me, finding like a weird workaround that just happens to work sometimes. So that's why I'm looking it up to see if there isn't a way to like do it elsewhere. Maybe I don't want to preload it. Maybe I just want to load it like this. Whoops. Let's not go to the homepage of Reddit. So I'll give that a try, I guess. Hello. Why aren't you working? Oh, there we go. So if we, instead of preloading the scene up here, if we were to say load weapon, hold on. I think we want this same string. So if we said load and then this string dot instantiate, see if this makes any difference. Maybe there's something weird about it, like being preloaded before. Oh my god, that worked. Okay, yeah. There's something weird about the preload. I think because we hadn't like loaded it before or something, the game doesn't understand that it got loaded into memory somewhere, but because we're doing that with the inventory item button here, it's working. So I think we actually want to update this because I think it's very wrong and is prone to breaking. So we just want to do the same thing we did in the other scene and say load that and instantiate it so we can get rid of that. And let's just double check that this still works. Okay, so we want to fix this bug where if you drag it on top of itself, it deletes. So we can do that now, but we've at least fixed the wonkiness. So the drag and drop manager. So if data drag success current node equals null. So it's handle drag success self.update item is null. So we actually, when we called handle drag success, which I think gets called in here, we want to pass in we're not necessarily setting it to null. We want it to be we only want it to do this if it doesn't get placed back on itself. So are we keeping track of, we're keeping track of the current node. We can pass. Okay, so start the drag. So drag success. Date item data. So drop, so we actually probably want to pass in the we might only want to do this in this updating in handle drag success, which means that drag success should take in data. Handle drag handle drag success should pass data back, which should only be a stackable inventory item. And then we should update with data, whether that's null or not. So drag success, data, stackable inventory item, and then pass in data there. I think that should fix that bug. What are you yelling about? Too many arguments for drag success. What do you mean? Oh, there we go. Okay, hopefully this doesn't cause any other issues. Oh, it does. Too few arguments. Oh, because I need to update. Oh, that's very bright. Need to update the weapon inventory item to do the same. So you don't do that, and you pass in data there, and then you take data, which is a stackable inventory item, and you use data. Okay. Oops, now it's multiplying itself a lot, like crazy. So that doesn't solve the bug. So let's just revert this actually, because I'm not convinced that's even the right solution there. So is there a way to tell that it's being dropped on itself? I actually guess we could say if the like node ID equals so if data is stackable inventory item and data dot like is there a node ID get node index? What does this do? Turns the index of the GLTF node to C node. This is the inverse. Get C node useful during the export. Not every C node will have a corresponding and not every GLTF. Turns the node's index, which is its position relative to its siblings. This is only relevant and saved. Okay, hold on. Godot for how to check if two nodes are the same. Not the same properties, but I literally just want how to compare nodes. No. Two nodes have the same ID. Assigning and referencing unique node IDs. Your naive solution is the correct solution. Looking for a way to reference nodes by IDs in a way which is efficient and save load compatible. My specific use case involves game actors storing lots of memories that pertain to specific game entities. As far as I can tell, get instance ID and instance from ID are not save load compatible since those IDs are generated at runtime rather than being fixed. Okay, so I guess get instance ID is what I'm looking for. So if get data.get instance ID equals self.stackableitem.get instance ID does not equal, then you can drop it there. So otherwise it should be a failure and nothing will happen. So let's see if this works. Okay, cool. Whoops. Cannot call method get instance ID on a null value. Okay, so let's take a step back here. This won't always be valid. So if stackable item equals null, okay, so if stackable item equals null, then we can return true. If item IDs are the same, and I guess, and the instance ID does not equal the instance ID, then return true as well. Okay, so this is saying Hey, Philippus. Nice to see you again. I'm doing well. I'm still working on the weapon inventory stuff. I decided to not have it be part of the main inventory and instead create a new kind of UI system for that. You have a nice day too. Create a new weapon inventory system that's part of the player inventory but kind of separate. So you can still drag and drop things to and from it. But it's requiring some other UI and stuff. So handles adding stacks together and validates they aren't the same instance, so we can't duplicate items. So I think this, wait, did that just change? That just reverted, didn't it? Which means I have an issue here. Let's close that. Okay, so this seems to be working as intended. Great, awesome. Do I develop everything from scratch or do I take inspiration from other code? Pretty much do everything from scratch, aside from, you know, the occasional issue that I have. I'll look something up online and figure out how to do it. Yeah, no, everything I've coded has been from scratch generally. I also try to avoid ChatGPT and AI where I can, because I find that it doesn't help me learn things quite as well. And it feels a bit lazy at times. But yeah, pretty much everything from scratch, aside from, you know, needing to use like an open source game engine like Godot, which is what I'm using. So, you know, from that sense, I'm not like creating my own game engine, but all the code inside is scratch. Okay, now, yeah, I mean, there's no better day to start than today. I've been coding for a long time, and I'm sure I'll be coding for many more years, but there's always something new to learn and something to have fun with. Okay, so we got all of that working. Now we need a way to set the weapon inventory item size, because we're seeing that it's ridiculously large. We don't want that. So the weapon inventory item itself should have a specifiable size. So I think we can say set UI size, and we'll pass in a size which is a vector 2, returns void, and we'll say self dot, we might be able to do size equals s. And so in here we can do weapon inventory item dot set UI size with vector 2, and we'll just say like 200 by 200. Let's see if that works. Nope. It's probably because it's the label that's causing things to be extra large. So let's say also game UI label scene dot size. Well, actually, we might not be able to do that yet because this won't be in the scene tree, so it doesn't exist yet. So we need to update this. So game UI label scene equals preload game UI label scene. So on ready, we'll say I think, hold on, how am I doing that here? Okay, so I am doing that like that. So I can say var UI label is of type game UI label self.ui label equals game UI label scene dot instantiate. And then this should be available at this point. No, wait. No, we need to do that in initialize, actually. We'll do that there. And now we should have access. So self.ui label.text. Same with self.ui label.text. And then also self.size and self.ui label.size. I think should be valid. So let's give this another go. Nope. Valid set index text on base nil. Let's see where this is happening. Self.ui label.text. So update item, drop data. Oh, are we not? Hold on. I guess we need to do it in both places because we're hard coding. We're hard coding this in here, right? Yeah. So that needs to happen both places. Oh, and we also need to handle the layout stuff. So this might take a sec to get right, but let's at least see if this works. So it doesn't update the label, but that's fine. It's at least letting me hold on. Let's take a step back. I don't know that we need to programmatically do this. So I think if we go back into the scene here, we don't want this to fill. We want it to shrink center on both. Okay, so that's fine. Now for this one, I don't think we want it to expand either. Wait, why is that? Why is this so big? Oh, because we want it to center. Okay, let's try this again. This might be okay. Oh, did it? That became the hitbox for this, I think, became like infinitely small, which is not ideal. So that does need to be full rectangle, actually. What if we said the custom minimums? Well, no, hold on. So maybe if we instead say this is expanded here, this might work. So we're specifying it on the actual instance, not the entire thing. Oh, there we go. That works. Okie doke. So that's working properly, which is great. I think you can drag on yourself and it doesn't break anything. Cool. So that's all working as intended. Oh, the fun times that we have with Godot UI and control nodes. Okay. So the last thing I want to do is get ammo working as well. So we need to know the difference between these two, which means we'll need a property that states is weapon and we'll say that's true. So this will change the type here for what can be drag and dropped in. And so this actually needs to be exportable. I think at export, is it? Okay, so now weapon can be true, and for ammo it can be false. So I don't know if I can do... Okay, so we can say if data is stackable inventory item, and then within that, if data is weapon, if self dot is weapon and that's a weapon. Actually, this will all be the same, won't it? Oh, wait, hold on a sec. Because we only want... Let's actually update this to say, like, is allow weapon drop. This might need to get updated again. Allow weapon drops off. Okay, self dot allow weapon drop, and we allow it to be a weapon. This feels weird. Hold on. Oh, it is weird because this should be data is weapon or data.get item is ammo. So that can work for either. It's this here that we want to change. And self.allow drop. wouldn't it be exactly the same thing, though? This is what's confusing me. I think that's elif. Yeah. I feel like this should work, but whoops. Allow, wait, is that not what I called it? Allow weapon. Gotta love when it does this. Allow weapon drop. Allow weapon drop. And this is ammo. Okay, so that's not working like I was expecting it to. Left side needs to be rifle only. Oh, and not. That's what that should be. Okay, so that's working as intended now. So you can drag those up there, and I can add borders to this. And also, we will need to attach this to our player. Actually, I don't think this is tied at all. Oh, now they're actually, why are they both gone? Probably to do with how I'm, hold on, loading in the inventory. Yeah, okay, so I need to fix that as well. All right, so we're about 2 hours and 10 minutes into the stream. Oh, I forgot to start the timer. No. But I can add that next time. 2 hours and 10 minutes in. We had a good time building the player weapon inventory stuff. We'll get that finished on the next stream. And then move on from there to maybe adding some more items or foliage or something. We'll do something. Thanks for everyone who hopped on. Really appreciate it. Had a good time. And I will see you guys all probably again tomorrow around the same time.